Hello and welcome to the Merrimack Valley Sandbox Presents. We got an incredible show for you today. I got Phil from the Robotic Feeding Arm with us and Chhavy from Shindig. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Phil, let's start at the beginning. What is the Robotic Feeding Arm?
Sure, so the Robotic Feeding Arm, if I had to describe it in one sentence, is it's a assistive technology device that gives independence to those relying on feeding assistance.
Okay. So why don't we see a little demonstration? I think that's the best way to describe it.
Sure, yeah. So I brought in one of the original prototypes that I've been working on. So let me just go ahead and show you. I have it linked to my computer right now, so this would be the user interface. However, there's mass potential for building various user interfaces. So let me just go ahead and show you how someone would use this device. First, once the bowl is loaded up with food and the spoon is placed into position, the user can decide what part of the bowl they want to eat from. So say, for example, there might be a corn on one side and maybe some mashed potatoes on the other. Today we have some nice M&Ms because everyone loves M&Ms.
Everyone loves M&Ms.
So if they wanted to rotate the bowl, then they would first engage a button and it would start spinning the bowl. Once they found an area of the bowl that they wanted to eat from, they could then stop it. Then when they're ready to scoop, then they would engage the second button and send the arm through a scoop routine.
That's just incredible.
So at this point, the arm is now in the feeding position. So at this point, the user would then eat what's on the food. After they consumed what's on the spoon, then they would engage the same button they engaged for the scoop routine. And then the arm would then retract back to its initial position. Also, if there's food left back on, the spoon will then dump it back into the bowl like that.
That's incredible, Phil. What inspired you to come up with this idea?
So I did my undergrad degree in electrical engineering at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, and I also minored in robotics. So in order to graduate, I had to create a project that both satisfied a robotics requirement and also my electrical engineering requirement. So that's where I came up with this idea, the robotic feeding arm. So through that process, I was able to build the first prototype and then also deliver it to a client.
But there would seem to be just an incredible need both locally and nationally for this, right, Phil?
Yeah, so the great thing about the robotic feeding arm is that the needs that it satisfies is basically twofold. So one of the bigger needs is that the robotic feeding arm gives independence to those relying on feeding assistance. So you can imagine places like nursing homes or hospitals or schools, there's a ton of people relying on healthcare providers and nurses in order to hand feed them. That's a reliance that a lot of people take for granted every day, able to feed themselves. So the robotic feeding arm is giving that independence to the user so they can choose when they want to take that next spoonful and when they want to eat. The other side of it is that nurses are extremely busy. I've talked to many nurses, many healthcare providers, and one of the biggest concerns is that that field is expected to grow, it needs to grow. And the time that nurses are putting in right now is over and above what's required. So this robotic feeding arm is then, since it's taking that reliance off of the nurse now has more time to do other tasks, tend to other needs. So the whole concept of this robotic feeding arm is to give independence to the user and also free up staff to be more efficient.
So basically they could just position the plate on the device and the user could feed themselves from there, correct?
That's right. So for example, say that this arm was in a nursing home and say it came lunchtime and there was 10 to 20, I don't know how many patients that usually get fed by hand. They could all meet in a common room and set up a bunch of these devices, have one nurse sort of monitor all those devices while people eat from it. So that way you still have an eye on the user, but at the same time you're freeing up countless hours and also other staff as well.
Because like you said, when you showed the demonstration, it was amazing to me how you could move the plate around. So like you said, if you're having 3 or 4 things on your plate and you're like, now I want some corn, spins around and grabs some corn for you. It's just really, Phil, roughly, because I know you can't give me an exact, how many hours have you put into this so far?
Oh gosh, well, yeah, right? I would have to do some crazy math. Well, basically, I've been working on this robot arm for about a year and a half to 2 years roughly, and it's been, through my undergrad, it was almost a full-time job, just working on it, and it still, keeps a lot of my attention. I've been working on some of the business side aspects of this design too, to try to further the development. So just, I could probably consider it part to full-time, but I enjoy it, so I don't even think of it like that.
Yep. Tell me about the first day when the spoon went down into the bowl and picked something up.
Yeah,
that had to be cool.
So it was really cool because we, all the engineers in the Capstone project, we all, had one common lab we worked in. So obviously this kind of had, everyone was noticing it day to day, and kind of always stopping by, checking up on us, seeing at what point the arm's at. Can it scoop yet? Can we eat from it yet? Oh, not yet. It needs a few more days, maybe weeks. We're still figuring out some of the designs. But yeah, that one day when we actually scooped something, there was sort of this nice, there was at first like this excitement and everyone was just like, whoa, and clapping. And then, there was also a big relief, like, wow, we actually accomplished the main design feature, which is to scoop food from a bowl.
Sure.
We all scoop food with our hands, but to model that with a mechanical system, seemed daunting at first, but once you get over that initial scoop and you make it work, then it's sort of downhill from there. But
that's kind of funny and stuff. So what stage are you in the development right now?
Right now, as you can see, the scooping motion and the bowl and the spoon, that's all in a good state. The biggest engineering feat at this point is the user interfaces. So coming up, because there's a lot of technology involved. There's also a lot of different, various disabilities out there in the world that people have that I want to, take that need of a nurse away from. So I need to figure out exactly, how they're getting fed now, or how could they manipulate a mechanical system. Is it something where they have no motor control or limited motor control? So all these different aspects have to go into a well-designed arm. So right now I would say my main concern is really trying to figure out various user interfaces for the arm.
So when do you hope to launch it to the public? What's the goal?
The goal, I would love to see a manufactured design within about, say, 3 to 5 years. It seems like a little way off, but one of the great things is that I have the prototype, and it's actually being used in one facility, and this arm will actually also go to back to the school to have some other people use it and to have it demoed. Also, I'm going to be building other prototypes and just getting more feedback from healthcare providers, meeting with nurses, and
nice.
And I really need to collect a lot of data to figure out exactly how I can hone in a design to meet the needs of many people.
I wouldn't rule out that parents would want it too for younger kids because it's so fascinating. They'd probably eat more just watching it, to be honest. Hey, you don't like the peas, and now you can eat it with this. And I don't know. I just looked at it like, I think it could be fun for kids too.
Sure, and if this, if something like this came to be a household item, or some, say a family goes to visit their grandparents, like in a nursing home, for example, and the children see it, it would be a great tool to teach with too. There's a lot of technology involved in this product. There's a lot of engineering that went into it. So to see a child, have a child see that, they would, be intrigued. Oh, how does that work?
Yeah.
And then, you can turn that into basically a lesson, be able to see how, how it works, what goes into a design like this.
So can we, can you have it run one more time?
Yeah, let's see, let's give it another look.
They say, while you're setting that up,
Sure.
Just tell me a little bit about the Summer Accelerator program for the Merrimack Valley Sandbox. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Sandbox, and just see so many great things happening through the Accelerator program.
Yeah, the Accelerator program is awesome. It's a 3-month-long intensive business course, essentially, where a bunch of entrepreneurs who are sort of in the early stages of development meet on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, and we twice a week, sorry. And what we do is we gather and they hire, they get mentors to come in to speak. So we learn a lot of the business side of things. They pair us up individually with mentors, so you can meet with someone on a weekly basis just for your own business. They also, at the end, we're going to all be pitching for some seed capital in order to take our business.
I love the pitch contests.
Yeah, the pitch contests are a lot of fun. It's definitely one of the biggest tools for an entrepreneur in order to hone, get their ideas down and really efficiently, know how to communicate them.
Good. So I'll give you a minute. We do encourage you to take a look out the Merrimack Valley Sandbox website, mvsandbox.org, to find out more about the Accelerator program, about the upcoming pitch contest. And also they have a Tuesday morning networking event right in their office. A real great event. We definitely encourage you to take a look. It's every Tuesday, 8 a.m. to 9:30. Great way to meet some local entrepreneurs. So that's mvsandbox.org. All right, let's see one more time.
Sure. So again, what we can do is we can choose whether or not we want the bowl to spin, so that will allow the user to pick from different locations of the bowl. That'll be one button that they can use. Once they find this portion of the bowl that they want to scoop from, then they engage another button and send it through its scoop routine.
Just so awesome. Just this.
So at this point, the user can eat from the spoon now, and then once they're done, they can return the arm using the same button. If there's any food left over, what you'll notice, and just like this M&M, is it's going to get dumped back in the bowl. And essentially, the arm goes back into its starting position and goes again.
So then you can program it so like if there's broccoli on the plate and I don't want it, we'll just shoot it off.
Yeah, that's still in the design phase, but we're working on that for the young ones.
So let's go back a little bit about the Summer Accelerator program from the Sandbox.
Sure.
What do you feel you've accomplished by being part of it? I love the program for you, Phil. Your engineering background, obviously, pretty bright guy. But now they're taking your technology background and teaching you business too. The program has like your name on it when I first met you.
Oh,
this
man.
is him.
One of the things I pitched originally was, I'm an engineer major. I have the technology, the mind for technology. I know how to build a device, but what do I do with it? It's sort of like the classic thing is the engineers have all these little gizmos, but it's like, a lot of them don't pursue business. However, once I got all the feedback from this device, positive feedback, and people saying, like, there's a need for this. Mm-hmm. That's when I started thinking business, and the Sandbox just kind of, they saw me and picked me right up, and you're right, it was a perfect match because they're teaching me a lot of those skills that I just hadn't learned, even the basics, and really trying to learn, what can I do with this arm? What's the next step for me? How do I market it? How do I turn it into a business strategy? So all those things the Sandbox has provided. And even beyond, that, the networking, it's one of the biggest things that I've learned from doing this is the networking, the people you meet, and then the people that you meet from those people. Just it branches off, and that's been one of the a big defining moment in the past few months is really just meeting people that can help me pursue this idea, having the connections to take it to that next step.
So how can people find out more about the robotic feeding arm?
I launched a website that they can visit, www.roboticfeedingarm.com. There they can look up some general information. They can also get in touch with me through networking, through my email. There's a Facebook link and LinkedIn as well.
Great. Bill, really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
That's just ingenious. Hi, Chhavy.
Hi.
So why don't we start at the beginning? What is Style This Shindig?
Style This Shindig. Well, basically what Style This Shindig is, it's an event styling and full design boutique. Some of the things that we do is we decorate and we create customized and cohesive look for an event space. So say, for example, if the event is a wedding, a fall-themed wedding, for example, what we do is we'll talk to brides and we'll figure out with them the design that they want, something that really reflects them and something that tells their story. In the end, guests are always really wowed by weddings anyway, but the most important thing is a lot of times, the couples